Hi everybody, welcome to another Chats with Chaudhrey. I hope you're safe and well. Today I'm delighted to be joined by Wolfram Schindler, who is the Global Product Manager, Inspection Technology at Syntegon. And today we're going to be talking about container closure integrity testing. And as you can see, Wolfram is not in the office. He's actually on the shop floor. So Wolfram, lovely to see you. How are you, my friend?
Thanks, very good, Rizwan. So I'm so happy that we can have this interview here finally, after meeting on several events in real life. I, for example, remember my last real life event. This is back quite a while in February in Basel, but not this year, last year.
Yeah, I remember.
When I talked about headspace, actually, what I think also will be a topic today.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, it's lovely to see you. And you're actually on the factory floor, aren't you? So what's behind you?
Yes, so behind is a nice piece of equipment, actually. So this is our AAM3 model. Yeah, so here you see just the turret for the visual inspection, yeah, for cosmetic defects, but mostly important to detect particles in the liquid, for example. So this is the model without HVLD, but we have also different models which are just commissioned right now and also sold already several times to customers with the HVLD module for container closure integrity test integrated into this machine.
All right, well, we might talk a little bit more about that a bit later on. So we're going to talk about CCIT, so container closure integrity testing. But before we do that, for those people who are not familiar with Syntegon, can you give a very quick overview of Syntegon, a little bit about your own background as well?
Right. So Syntegon formerly was known as the Bosch Packaging Group. And so now our new name is Syntegon. And I mean, we are still in packaging. It's not just pharma. Yeah, what we are focusing here on site, and even more in particular on inspection, but it's also about food packaging, for example. So if we are talking about pharma and specifically here the applications of liquid fill mostly and inspection. So I'm in the inspection division, and we have a global footprint originating actually from ISI in Japan. We still have part of the team close to Tokyo. Then we are here in Weiblingen and Kreilsheim, and we also have a site in Allendale in the United States.
Brilliant. And a little bit about your own background.
So I started with the company 7 years ago as a research engineer. Actually, I was hired when we launched our developments for container closure integrity test. Maybe also what helped, I was involved many years ago as a student in our glove integrity tester for the isolator. And obviously then this fitted. Yeah, it was also a kind of integrity test, but on a much larger container, let's say, than today, 1 ml ampule. Yeah, and so I have a background in physics. And I love data, obviously, and because I also love the technical equipment, then I switched to product management some months ago, but still assist here from time to time the CCIT testing and supporting also our customers.
Brilliant. Well, I know recently you had a webinar on headspace analysis. So let's start there. So what is headspace analysis?
Yes, so with headspace analysis, so typically we are talking, if it's about automated testing for leak detection, about 2 different possibilities. Yeah, first, you can measure the oxygen optically by shining in a laser beam, actually similar to the laser diode you have in those laser presenters. And then you receive the transmitted light on a detector. And as you specifically excite the oxygen molecule, you will see a dip in the signal. Yeah, you have an absorption peak, and this then you can correlate to the number densities, or let's say the amount of oxygen, and in the end you will get then, for example, oxygen percentage, or you can also do similarly with exciting the water vapor so the H2O molecule, and then derive from the width the pressure. And I think this is really cool because just with the optical measurement, below 100 milliseconds, non-invasively, you can actually tell what the total pressure inside a closed container is, and even at high speeds, like you usually have in production. So even up to some 100 containers per minute, like we also do on our KHS model, or we can also integrate such a sensor here into this visual inspection machine into the turret.
Right. Okay. Now, the webinar you had last week obviously was about headspace analysis, but also is obviously about CCIT. So, was there a lot of interest in the webinar, and what were the most common questions you got asked about CCIT at the webinar?
So first of all, we really appreciate that we had a rather huge interest here in the audience, and also we had very specific questions. So telling you that the method is not new anymore to the customers. It emerged, let's say, about 20 years ago for this industry at least. But now you see around the globe, this was really an international audience. There were very specific questions. For example, about the calibration and validation topics. We could show like a hands-on video how we do this with certified gas standards, pretty straightforward. Then, of course, questions in comparison to other CCIT methods like vacuum decay, which are partially being replaced with this method. But of course, you cannot apply, let's say, one method to all applications. So it's really case dependent. And then also then the tiny steps in between the complete course of a project, which you have to take care, and really then also how to interpret the data. What still actually is also my task to help here the customer, not just record the data, but then really get out something useful of the data and prove that the machine is working as expected, and most of all, of course, that then the batch finally can be released with confidence.
Yeah, well, that's interesting you talk about that, because you mentioned sort of different applications for different types of containers in different situations. So, you mentioned obviously you've been looking at CCIT for over 7 years now at Syntegon. So from your own experience, what industry trends have you seen over those 7 years, and how has regulation changed within the visual inspection CCIT arena?
Yes, so particularly about the CCIT, we got the update of the USP 1207, also describing more in detail the different methods and approaches to validate, and also the EU Annex 1, which still is a draft version, but you can already see that, for example, the room, what the text takes today is about double this section compared to the past, and highlighting that also the need for statistically valid sampling plans, focus on data. And if you are talking about vision and CCIT, it's very interesting clause there that visual inspection alone is not considered as sufficient to prove container closure integrity. So highlighting that both inspection methods, let's say, are complementary. And this is exactly then also our philosophy with our machines, to combine the visual inspection system, so camera, or our SD system, as we call it, SD, so what is actually a diode array, very sensitive to moving particles in liquids, together with the high voltage leak detection or the headspace analysis, to get the full picture. So some for some cases, maybe the camera, let's say, has a blind spot due to reflections, for example, but then the HVLD can still detect such a crack in such a region. But of course, also the other way around could be that you have a defect which you clearly can see on the camera. Think about if you're driving with your car and a stone hits your window. Maybe this is not a permeable a breach from the beginning, yeah, but just like a deep scratch, as we say, or a crack, what you can immediately see, even with your own eye, but maybe would be difficult for physical CCIT method, yeah. So it's always complementary, and the good thing, you can challenge then such machines with the proper test kits and record the data, and the machine automatically then also generates such reports. And this actually really was of interest of the audience of this webinar, and also other talks I recently gave around such topics, data collection and automatical, let's say, evaluation, yeah, and reporting.
Right. I mean, that brings on to something else I wanted to ask you, because I know that the webinar that you did was a joint webinar with Lighthouse Instruments, who I've actually done videos with in the past as well at CPHI and PDA Basel, as you were mentioning a bit earlier. So why has Syntegon partnered with Lighthouse, and what does it bring to your customers, the partnership?
Yes, so this is a very successful partnership. So this is when we started to develop the KHS. Yeah, so we were looking for a supplier for the sensor in first place. So the sensor technology is from Lighthouse Instruments. But also very important, Lighthouse is very well known in this market and has a broad expertise also on let's say the upstream processes, yeah, on lyophilization, and let's say all these parameters are also important then to help the customer really to develop the most adequate method for their product. And this, of course, starts earlier than a machine project. Typically, you start with some lab studies, some benchtop studies, maybe also on-site, then we come into play, then we do tests on the automated system, sometimes actually even with very fresh samples. Yeah, recently we had a German customer, they brought us samples just 6 hours old, so that we could even investigate time-dependent effects in real time, or studying what the certain holding time might have an effect. And then us as a established machine builder, and actually with 40 years experience on inspection machine projects, and as said, also then knowing the other CCIT technologies and offering them, so to always, let's say, meet the need of any customer demands and at its best.
Well, I think it's a reflection, isn't it, that these days projects are really are truly integrated. You have to go right from the very beginning and plan it all out all the way through the different stages and work together collaboratively in, rather than splitting everything up into very distinct silos. It is very much an integrated approach now, a lot of these projects.
Yes, that's correct. And also for vision inspection, yeah, there we are doing it actually for a very long time, or for forever actually. It's about testing, yeah, so that you do thorough sample testing up front, and then transfer this then finally to the production recipe, yeah, and then even a step later then also assist with the process qualification, with the method validation, yeah. Speaking about the KHS, then also sometimes here we have then again support from Lighthouse with such protocols, yeah. Also this might then again implement positive controls and comparative studies on a benchtop, and things like that, yeah. So it's very complex, and it's not just to build a piece of machinery, yeah. You always have from the beginning, from the URS till the PQ, you have of course to keep the actual application in mind.
Fine. Right. So my final question though for you is that obviously we have gone through a very difficult and unique situation over the last 18 months with COVID and obviously the pandemic. So how has COVID-19 influenced the inspection machine business?
Yes, so as you might guess, there was quite a big influence on our business. Yeah, so we had to be even faster than normal. Yeah, so delivery times really dropped, and we succeeded with some projects just in a few months to deliver like on fast track. Yeah, so our teams of experts, they really implemented a lot of projects around the world. Also for the novel mRNA vaccines, for example, inspection projects, visual inspection, also CCIT and just in time. So this was, let's say, the one part for new machine projects. But we, of course, also have our ongoing service and support topics. And so what we learned that you can really do today a lot via video, yeah, assist remotely, for example, when we commission a new format size part at an existing machine. Yeah, in the past, the fitter had to fly over, maybe also to collect the data, to do adjustments like this. So now we really can do it together with the customer, and then it's actually even faster than before, and also cheaper, I would say. Yeah, so it's really a winning situation for both parties. Yeah, so we can then also serve more customers in the same time. And well, of course, here now in the company, yeah, we still some of us are more in the home office. As me myself, for example, if it's more office job on the shop floor, of course it's different. And then if it's about FAT, yeah, so video FAT now really is broadly accepted. I think no one could imagine this like 2 years ago. Yeah, but
can I ask, what does FAT stand for? Forgive
yes,
me.
sorry, FAT means factory acceptance test, right?
Right.
And so then this means that we are installing here several cameras so that the customer actually can see from different perspectives exactly what we are doing. So I think actually like this, you even get more details in some cases as if you stand next to the machine. Yeah, then also with the close-up and so on. You can have different colleagues at the customer side watching. You don't have to fly in the complete crew for, let's say, 1 or 2 weeks, but then just everyone can only take part for this half an hour, what is interesting for let's say, the quality person, for example. Yeah. And then I think also this makes in the complete robust project in the end more robust. Yeah, then you can get a lot of specific questions clarified at this stage.
And you've also got a record, haven't you, as well, which you can refer to as you go through. So once you've done it, you've got the record to look at it. And other people, like you said, who aren't at the actual meeting can review the record and say, well, if someone's missed something.
Also then, you know, not just for documentation, but also training purposes, actually. Yeah, if we, let's say, then really also do some demos during FAT, then this is also very appreciated then by customers then to use such material later. This actually we also did in some projects before the pandemic, such demo videos recording. And now it's more or less standard. Yeah.
Fantastic. So I know that's all we've got time for. So where can people get more information about the solutions and also the advice that you can give them around CCIT and inspection?
Yes, so besides our main website, syntegon.com, we also have a microsite dedicated to visual inspection and CCIT. I think we will then also see the link in the post.
Yeah, sure. I'll add that.
And there we also announce our webinar. Yeah, for example, the next one is again on artificial intelligence, what we successfully announced at the beginning of the year that we first implemented such solution in a running pharma machine, so running in production at the customer. And now we also will have this as a standard and also as a retrofit option for machines. So this all you can find there, also links to our videos and flyers and a lot of material. Contact details, of course, very important. Yeah, we are always happy to get directly in contact with the customer about specific questions.
Brilliant. Well, Wolfram, thank you very much for taking time out to talk to me. It's really interesting. As you say, I'm glad that we finally got, it's taken us more than a year, but we finally got to catch up properly and have a proper conversation about CCIT. So thank you very much for taking the time out to talk to me.
Thank you, Rizwan, for the interview very much. Thanks.
And thank you very much. And thank you, viewers, for watching. If you've got any questions for Wolfram, please put them below the video. You can message him directly on LinkedIn. He is on LinkedIn as well. You can check out the links above the video, which have lots of information around CCIT and visual inspection as well. So please check those links out. Leave comments below. You know, it's a really interesting topic. There's lots of developments going on there. And Wolfram, all this, thank you very much. Have a fantastic week. I hope you have a fantastic summer and the sun continues to shine where you are, because it's a beautiful day here. I hope it continues to be a beautiful day where you are as well. So thank you very much for your time.
Thanks all for watching. Thanks, Rizwan, again. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And thank you everyone for watching. Until next time, as always, stay well and stay safe. Bye-bye.